Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity here to kind of expose you to, especially as we look at how much Revit is going to easily work with SketchUp, show you how you actually put absolute correct values into SketchUp, it being really the program that's going to take these lists the easiest. I'm going to do that by showing you just real quickly. You can deal with layers pretty nicely, so you can make some extra layers here. I'll make a couple layers, different colors, but this really is it's a different entity. It's an edge-based program. So I'm going to draft on layer 3 and just draft my starting point. If you remember, I've got 0, 0, and I go now to the VCB, this thing on the bottom left, and I go ahead and type in with a hard bracket. Hard bracket means an absolute location of 16.67, comma 16.67, comma 4. And if you remember, that was in fact where we were starting our, where the point 4 was, or where the cable was hanging down. So I'm going to go there to start, and then I'm just going to type with a less than symbol 0, 0, minus 10. That's a relative coordinate. Hit that button there, but I forgot to actually give it finish the command. So I'm going to go back here, and you just kind of realize you have to use some visual clues. So let me go back here and show you one more time, see if we can do it correctly. You're going to draft your line here. You're drafting a line from there to hard open bracket 16.67, comma 16.67, comma 8. I'm sorry, comma 4, close hard bracket, resides below the squiggly. Now I basically, if you go to the next one, basically I tend to finish out that command, come back till we quite show you how you write the code. Now I can do the next one down, I guess, and if you think about it, I can now go to Window Layers and go to Layer 2 for my 4. So now I'm going to draft on layer 2. I can draft a line from here, and I want to go down. It's pretty easy to in SketchUp just to kind of have it find your direction, but let's learn how to use the relative, and that is 0, 0, minus 10. Close that relative. It's gone down. I always have to draw this extra line, right click, and finish it out. So that is one of my forces coming down. That's one of my forces. It's my weight force coming down to scale. I'll leave that radial vector pointing there so we can see it. I'll go back to Window, Layers, go to Layer 1 now. And now when I draft this next one, I'm going to kind of pull this information. I know where it's going, but I'm going to check whether my variables that I did in my calculator are correct by going to second list 1 and looking at that unit vector. Unit vector is 0.67, 0.67, 0.322. So once again, here I go to there, and just like you would in AutoCAD now, you just put at, but in this program you put the less than and then the greater than, enclosing your 0.67, comma, 0.67, comma, 0.32. Close your delimiters, hit a return, and now once again you got to draft that extra one, hit an escape, come in and erase it out, and you have right there on right click, I'm left clicking, right click, and entity info. That's on level 1. So we're going to make a couple more layers here. So we're going to make sure we go to Window, Layers, and we'll make a couple more, layer 5 and layer 6. So we'll go to layer 5 now, and we'll draft our second vector. Second vector is going to start from here, start from that same initial point, and we're going to look in second list 2, and that direction is 0.437 minus 0.875, and so once again using the relative delimiter, 0.437, comma, minus 0.875, comma, 0.210, close that. Once again, you have got to click again, hit an escape bar, and that, of course, now we're keeping track of them hopefully on layers right click. You left click, right click on top entity that was in level 5, layer 5. We'll finally go to layer 6. Window, layers, layer 6. Eventually you can control the color. You can control the color of the layer for the lines, and we'll try to do that in a second here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this off. I'm on layer 6. My last point, again, showing you that you mix these worlds. I'm going to go from that point. I'm going to go to my second list 3. Its direction is minus 0.875, 0.437, and 0.210. So I am going to once again relative minus 0.875, comma, 0.437, comma, 0.21. Close my delimiter. It went off in a direction. For this program, I've got to X that extra one, come back, right click, and erase. Now you see in all reality, I really don't need that, and in the end I'm going to put a ball there in a little bit, but I've got my 3 vectors. One is there, one is there, and one is there. What's great about that, when you finally get your solution, I'm going to go ahead and save this, when you finally get your solution, or realistically in this you have your solution. If you're going to really try to do it by CAD, you can go ahead and start moving these things around. But what you have is the direction of your unknown forces. And so what's great about this program, and many others as well, is that you kind of, once you kind of go from here, start there, go over the top, and now if you hold the shift key, it's going to lock that direction. And so you could maybe say it was going out 10, and then you have that line drafted 10 in that direction. You can go here, start from here, get to that end. It's going to hold that direction, and you can say maybe it's going 12. It's going to hold that direction. And the same thing there. You can go to here, start on that end point, come to the top. Once it inferences, you're trying to get purple edge and maybe say this was 13. Now what you do know, and what you should know from before, is that the way we were drafting this is these should all go to a point that is 8 tall on a 25-foot grid. So what I'm going to do right now is going to draft this up and then go 8. So I've drafted an 8 grid there. I'm now going to turn off my axes, right, because I've got that line here. I'm going to go ahead, I grab, just to show you in SketchUp, like AutoCAD, it's just a different rhythm. I grab, then I grab my tool, then I grab my spot. I use the control key here. It locks along a direction. I want to go 25 feet that way. And then the same, I can do a couple of these here. Here, I'm going to hold the shift key. I've grabbed what I want. I go to now the tool, or I type M for move. I grab my initial point. I hold my control key to do a copy, and I'm going to go now 25. It tends to remember what I did. What I'm going to do now is put myself, my eye exactly on this point, exactly on this point, exactly on this point, and look down, and you'll see, in fact, that we will be looking right down the pike. And so I'll do that in this program. Again, they're all different, they're all good. And so in this program, I've kind of lost, as I look at this, I've kind of lost one of my toolbars, and one of the most important toolbars is the view, and it's way down here. So I'm going to kind of hopefully be able to pull this thing down, right? And yeah, you'll see it. There it is there. So what I can do is I'm going to place myself directly on there and look to that, and now what you see is I'm looking right down the pike. We don't always see there, if you notice there, that's the whole vector thing. So now I'm going to place myself here. What I'm doing is I'm clicking on where I want to stand, then looking where I want to look. It takes my eye right there, and we're looking right down. And just to prove that to you, I guess, I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit. We got a little more time in our 10 minutes here. I'm going to put this out to my SketchUp people, to my CAD people. I'll put a little ball on there, even though it's a little tall, little ball. Try again here. I'm going to pause and put 3 balls on here and then look back again. Hit the pause. Put the balls there. They're not centered, however, but I'm going to once again put myself out here on the top of that and look down towards there, and this is what I see. Zooming in and out. So you can see that you can control this, and you'll see later that the actual lists that you put in Excel or in your calculator can be direct inputs. You don't even need to go down in the VCB. So in the end, of course, probably what we'll want to do is not what we've done here, but we'll probably want to put the ball right there in the middle. Now the problem with when they put this ball, I think there is a way to put it center base, but I'm just putting a ball there. I'm going to go ahead and move it down a little bit. And of course now that ball would be held up by wires. That hull would now, instead of just a wire, would be a weight, and you could kind of move that around based on some controls to these 3 wires. Thanks for listening. That's an addition you don't have to watch. You don't have to do SketchUp, but it's not a bad one to learn.